Hi and welcome to this sequence that is all about improving shoulder mobility or ease in shoulder movement. You will need a few props, but you can make do with household items. So if you don't have a squishy ball like this, you could actually just use a rolled up pair of socks. If you don't have a strap, you could use a skipping rope or any sort of cord or rope that you might have lying around the house. And if you don't have blocks, you could simply use some books. So totally adaptable to what you have in the house. What we'll do is take a little check-in to begin with, just to notice how the shoulder is moving, so that as we go through the practice, you'll start to notice some changes, and hopefully by the end, you'll notice a significant difference from the beginning to the end of the practice. In this practice, we will just focus on one side. So just know that if you want to create some balance in the body, you might just have to replay the video and do the other side after. So begin by standing up on your knees, and I'm going to focus on my right shoulder, on my right arm. For you, if you're looking at the screen, that will be your left, because I'm not mirroring you. So begin standing up on your knees. I'm going to use this arm, which is actually my right arm, but for you, if you are mirroring, it will be your left arm. So starting just by taking some shoulder circles or arm circles, and just notice how it's actually feeling. So notice where you feel a bit of restriction or tension. Notice where through that movement the chest wants to kind of come along as well. And just notice if it feels a bit clunky, clicky in places, if there's ease, or if it feels just a little bit tight. And then once you've got that little bit of a check-in of how it feels, just find a comfortable seat. So that could be sitting on a block. If you need to sit on a chair, feel free to do that as well. Take your strap and wrap it around the bottom of your rib cage, and we'll start with some three-dimensional breath. So cross it over in front and then lightly hold it with the palms facing up. Bring your awareness to where the strap is resting on the back ribs. You can close your eyes or soften your gaze towards the ground. And start to see if you can fill into the back rib space. As you breathe in, feeling the back body, the side ribs expand, the belly just lightly expanding as well. And as you exhale, you'll feel everything kind of draw in. Now, often the tension, restriction, the things that are happening in the shoulder are a result of how we're breathing, and perhaps the stress that we have in our lives. And in particular, how that breath is moving the thoracic spine. We need flexion of the thoracic spine in order for the thoracic spine to move into rotation. And if we don't have those actions, then it makes, obviously, rotation of the spine difficult, and it means that the shoulders end up taking up more of that load. The shoulder blades may even wing off the back if there isn't that three-dimensional expansion of the rib cage. Just starting to tune into your breath rhythm and really allowing that full expansion, front to back, side to side. And also, if we're using more of the accessory muscles to breathe, they're often located up in the neck and the shoulders. And so that can also put a lot of tension in the shoulders, the neck, can alter our posture, which then also alters how our arms move, and the ease with which we can move the arms. Good. And then release the strap. And lie down on your side with that same side facing up. So for me, it's going to be my right side. If you are mirroring me right now, it'll be your left. You can place your head on a pillow or on the block. You're going to take that hand onto the ribs. Now, as you breathe in, I want you to fill into your hand. And then as you breathe out, you're going to use your hand to squish down and in. So you're assisting the exhalation. Breath in, fill into your hand. And as you breathe out, use the hand to squish down and in.
And just keep doing this a few more rounds. Again, it's just helping us to tune in to that three-dimensional breath, and in particular here, the lateral expansion. On this next exhale, you're going to press down and hold that pressure down, and then see if you can send the breath maybe into the back body a little more, or the underneath rib cage. And then let the breath spring back into the hand. And you just release the arm down. And take a moment, you can lie on your back just to check in from side to side. And just notice how the breath is moving into that side you've just done. Maybe notice the lower back, the upper back, the shoulder. Any changes from side to side. And then grab your squishy item, and you're going to place it underneath your shoulder blade on that same side. So I've just turned around so that you can see it in the video. So right underneath the shoulder blade, and then just gently rolling around on that point. So we're getting into a bit of the infraspinatus, which is a muscle that is responsible for external rotation. It's one of your rotator cuff muscles. And just moving nice and slowly, really mindful about what you're sensing and what you're feeling as we help to bring proprioception to this area and also hydrate the tissues. And then roll a little towards the side. Keep the ball more or less in that shoulder blade area. And you're going to create a little windshield wiper action with the arms, moving the arm through internal and external rotation. And you might feel some maybe knobbly bits of muscle that you're kind of rolling over in the shoulder blade, or there might be some more tender spots. So again, just noticing what you sense and feel. You might be able to get a little bit more rotation with each repetition, so also notice that. Good, and then again, take the ball out, take a little check-in from side to side. Notice how that shoulder blade is feeling in comparison to the other side. And if you like, you can even take a little motion of the arms, reach them up and back behind the head, and just check in with how that side is moving in comparison to the side that we haven't done anything to. And then roll yourself over and come up into a seated position. And you're welcome to use a block underneath the hips, or you could even sit in a chair if you need to. We're going to do a little bit of elevation and depression of the shoulder. So bring your hand to your shoulder, and we'll apply a little bit of resistance to this motion. Press down with your hand and then shrug your shoulder up towards your ear. And make sure it is the shoulder lifting towards the ear, not the ear to the shoulder. Once you get all the way up, release the tension of the hand, let the shoulder slide down. Press down, apply resistance, and then press up into that resistance. And then let the resistance go and slowly slide the shoulder back down. Just notice if there's any jumpy, jerky moments along the way. Press down and lift up into that resistance. And then nice and slowly, you're going to slide that shoulder back down. Good, one more in this direction. And as slowly as you can, shoulder comes down. Press down, lift the shoulder up. This time create equal and opposite force again. Now the hand is going to win to slide the shoulder down, and you're going to keep resisting with the shoulder. So now we're lengthening the tissue under load, or eccentrically working. And then release, lift up, apply pressure, and then start to press the shoulder down, maintaining that sense of resistance as you lower. Good, and again. Really trying to find control through this range of motion. That ability to apply the same amount of resistance via the shoulder right throughout the arc of movement. Good, and once the shoulder is all the way down, take a little check-in from side to side, notice how it's feeling. And now we're going to move into protraction and retraction. So I'm going to turn side on so that you can see this action. If it helps, you can bring your fingertips just to the front of the chest because it's these muscles that are going to be doing part of the action. So you're going to roll the shoulder forward. Feel the muscles in the front of the chest contract and the shoulder blade protract off the back. Check you haven't brought it into your upper traps. And then take the shoulder blade and slide it towards the spine and down. And feel how the arm opens out. So now we're using that infraspinatus muscle on the shoulder blade to create external rotation. And again, roll it forward, internal rotation. Feel the front of the chest start to squeeze in. And then roll it into external rotation. Think shoulder blade towards the spine and down. And again, roll it forward, internal rotation with protraction. And then external rotation with retraction. Now we're going to create a circle, come all the way forward, go all the way up towards your ear, all the way back, and then shoulder blade towards the spine as you slide the shoulder down. Again, all the way forwards, all the way up. Take the shoulder back, shoulder blade goes towards the spine as you bring the shoulder down. One more like that. Nice smooth circle. Good. Once it's all the way back, you can again take a little check-in from side to side. You might just notice that that shoulder feels a little bit more alive. And then make your way down onto your your side. Move your props out of the way unless you'd like to have a block underneath the head. I'm going to do some circles and bow and arrows with the arm. So lying on your side, head to the ground, or you can place a pillow underneath the head. Your knees are stacked. So we're still on that same side arm. You're going to reach forward as you breathe in. And then exhale, slide along the inside of the arm across the chest. Elbow comes towards the floor. And then extend the arm all the way out. Nice and slowly circle it over your head. Try and keep it as close to the floor as you can. And just notice how the arm rotates to bring it back, hands stacked. Reach forward as you breathe in. Slide along the inside of the arm, across the chest. Elbow pulls towards the floor. Reach out with the arm. And then circle over your head to come back. Nice, smooth circle. And keep on repeating this. So if you're a little bit out of sync with me, that's okay. Just make the movement nice and smooth. Really paying attention to how that arm is spiraling in the socket. You might play with maybe keeping the palm facing up for as long as possible before you rotate. So just finding some different ways that that arm can move in that circular action. Notice how the knees are sliding as well. So starting to facilitate better rotation of the spine, which also helps to free up the movement of the shoulder. So let's go for a couple more. If you are doing this at home on your own, you might pause the video and actually add on another maybe 5 or 10. It's the sort of action that the more you do, the better it feels and the more range of motion opens up with each repetition. Nice, let's do one more. And then once your hand is stacked back on top, you'll press your way back up and find your strap. And you can do this sitting back on your heels or sitting on a block, so whatever feels most comfortable for your ankles. You're going to hold on to your strap and connect one hand to the floor. So this is the hand that we haven't been doing. The other arm is going to reach up and you're going to pull on the strap. So create tension. Try and keep the strap straight and your arm straight. Roll your chest towards the sky as you reach the arm back. Look up. And then roll the chest towards the floor as the arm reaches forward in front of you. Again, keep the arm straight, the strap straight. Roll back, look to the sky, and then roll forward as you look to the floor. So again, we're getting into some of that rotational movement through the thoracic spine, but now also adding on the latissimus dorsi and the lateral sheath of the body, as well as the front of the chest and the shoulder. So nice little flossing action to help get the fascia to slide and glide. And also just to map this movement in the body. So let's do one more. And again, if this feels really good, you could keep going with this. And then strap to one side. Grab both of your blocks or whatever you're using in place of blocks. And we're going to do a little bit of isometric shoulder flexion, which is this action to help improve that action for our mobility of the shoulder. So lay yourself down on your back and stack the blocks beside the hand that you were doing. So we're still on that right side if you were doing the same side as me. And you're going to place the back of your hand onto the blocks. You can do this with your knees bent or your legs out long, but you want to bring the front ribs down and keep the back ribs on the floor. Now start to push down into the block. Now as you do that, you might notice that the elbow wants to bend, so see if you can keep the elbow straight. You might also notice that the ribs want to flare, so see if you can keep the back ribs in contact with the floor. Nice, calm, steady breath. Good, and then release that pressure. Move one of the blocks out of the way, or if that felt challenging enough, you can keep it with the two blocks. Hand goes back on the block, and we'll just take a few breaths here first before we add the resistance. And again, just seeing if you can keep that elbow nice and straight, soften the ribs down, back ribs in contact with the floor. And then start to push down with your arm. Finding that maximum force down into the arm. You might notice perhaps one of your feet is sharing a little bit of that load as well. Good, and then release that pressure. Roll to your side and come up into a high kneeling position. And we'll check out whether it's made a difference, all of that work. So keeping the palms facing towards the floor, raise both arms to the sky and just notice how much further the arm that you've been doing travels and how much easier it is to lift it up. You can do that a couple of times if you weren't quite sure or weren't convinced. You can probably see in the video how it's affected my range of motion. Good, and then like we did at the beginning, take this circle with the arm and notice if it feels any different. Now, I know for me, it's taken out any of that area of restriction or tightness. I feel that the shoulder is now moving a lot freer. There's less of that clunky motion as I circle the arm. And again, if you're not convinced, try the arm that we haven't done and notice. And see where you feel the tightness. Awesome. So there you have it, a nice little practice just to improve shoulder mobility and awareness in and around the shoulder joint. Feel free to go back and repeat this video on the other side. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.